G'day Year 11, this is lesson 3. Don't forget as usual to go up the top here, sign off on the date that you've completed this lesson and then proceed to the following page, which is page 11. So lesson 3, sorry. What we're going to look at today is an introduction to non-verbal communication as the second part of that syllabus dot point here, outlining to do so. To start off with, as usual, we have a word bank for you to complete, so please get that done with the appropriate words listed down there. In a nutshell, non-verbal communication is every other aspect of communication that isn't verbal. So last lesson we looked at talking, shouting, yelling, humming, all of those being examples of verbal communication, but non-verbal communication is everything else. So things like body language, gestures like I'm using my hands now, eye contact, different facial expressions, how your body is positioned, all of these things are non-verbal communication. And these signs and signals, as I've indicated here, make up 80% of our daily, you're going to have to fill that word in as well, but they make up 80% of all forms of our communication when compared to verbal communication. So most of our communication and interpreting, when we decode, if I refer back to this up here, most of our decoding is done by body language, because we can all hear the words someone says, but their body language, it also adds a lot of different meaning as to how they're saying things and what they're saying, and it can change the meaning entirely. So a classic example here that I've put an image here of politician Bill Shorten chucking a cheeky dab as a example of non-verbal communication there. Hope you enjoyed that one, guys. First activity I want you to do is look at this image of a kid. There's 18 different facial expressions here. What I want you to do is notice the collation of non-verbal communication he's given. Usually that's expressed by his mood, facial expression, and gestures. What I want you to do is just below on each of them, so there's 18 of them here, I want you to write in one word the mood that this child is expressing based off his gestures and expression. So what mood is that? So for here, say this far right one, I might say happy. Okay? For this image here, I might say he's cross or cranky. For this image here, I might say he's surprised. Okay? Here I might indicate that he's also in a good mood. So what I want you to do is indicate his mood based off his facial expressions and gestures there. Okay, so you should have 18, just one word below each of them. Okay, might be playful, cheeky, confused, whatever you think it is. What I then want you to do is I've written some non-verbal, so pause the video here, do that, and then come back. So now that you've done that, we're going to look at some non-verbal communication scenarios. So what I want you to do is answer this in your big boy book. I want you to decipher what each scenario is trying to communicate non-verbally in your big boy book. So in your big boy book, write, or even if you don't want to do it in your big boy book, actually, if you have some room, you can draw a little arrow here and just write it if you want. Either or is up to you. So if you're doing it in your big boy book though, write it down. So I want you to decipher what a couple swinging their hands together might mean, what someone placing their bag on the seat next to them on a train or bus might mean, if someone's biting their fingernails or tapping their feet at the same time, what could that mean? So we're looking at all these different examples of non-verbal communication scenarios and what they mean. So once you have completed that, pause that and do that. Once you've done that here, what I would like you to do is, now here I said work in pairs to complete the following table. You may have to do it individually. If you still want to do it in pairs via an organised Zoom or FaceTime or Skype or whatever, feel free to do so. But I want you to complete the following table, and you will have to use secondary research to be able to complete this. So what I've written here in red is different gestures or different examples of non-verbal communication. These examples are holding hands with someone of the same sex, shaking your hand in a waving manner. Remember my story from last lesson? That could help you here. Spitting on someone. We looked at this briefly last term, what spitting on another person might mean in a different culture. Burping after you're eating, and rubbing someone on the head. So what I want you to do is write down what that means in Australia, in our cultural context, what that non-verbal communication means. And then I want you to write down what it might mean in another country. And then in brackets, I want you to indicate either which culture or country that forms a part of, okay? Last but not least, once you have finished that, is I want you to conduct an observation. Now, this could be a little tricky, now that I think about it, given the current lockdown laws and descriptions, which is a pain. But I'll try to think of an alternative. What I was going to originally get you guys to do is go to a public place, somewhere where you could observe two people having a conversation, somewhere close enough for you to observe their eye contact and facial expressions and body language and whatnot. And I wanted you to just try and guess what their conversation is about, their relationship, anything like that, purely based off their non-verbal communication. It's a fun game to play when you're out to dinner with friends or your significant other. But the idea was that I wanted you to determine what their relationship was, what the nature of the conversation was about, how they feel about each other, if their feelings changed over the course of the conversation, etc., and all of that based off this research methodology of observation. Now, if you manage to, say, do something like this while you're exercising outdoors and maintaining social distancing, that's fine. If not, we may have to put that one on hold for now. But if you get a chance, or you're in a position where you may be able to do that, on the off chance that, I don't know, you're walking the dog and there's a couple walking their dog in front of you, you can try to do this observation, but you may not get the chance to, given the current environment, which is a little annoying, but you know, we got to do what we got to do. Anyway, that's lesson 3 done. Enjoy.